Sean Anthony Ignatius, STEM 214. My source for this article is www.theguardian.com. Typhoon Tembin happened in the year 2017. It affected mostly the main southern islands of the Mindanao region. Specifically, I'm talking about Lanao del Sur, Zamboanga del Norte, and the Bukidnon province. As usual, when it comes to natural disasters like this, many people died, many casualties happened, many properties were lost, and for this specific case, many people went missing. Additionally, specific to this case, communication and power were cut, causing help to not come as quickly as expected or as needed. The following statistics are the number of people that died or are missing, or that went missing during this event or during this disaster. According to a local police report, 135 people died and 72 people went missing. According to another police report that happened in another area that was affected, 47 people died and 72 people went missing. And according to a politician in the Lanao del Sur area, 18 people drowned during this disaster. I think that is all when it comes to summarizing the events of this report. Now I'll answer the other letters that are stated here in this project. Letter B. What are the drastic effects of the disaster to the community? Well, you have your basic effects. People die, people went missing, and property was destroyed. This is to be expected by any natural event because, of course, the destruction is always imminent when it comes to extreme winds, extreme floods, and all that. Other effects to the community that are not all physical or psychological. People's morale are down because, people died, and that's sad. People are depressed because, their family members are missing and all their stuff are gone. These are the effects of this event or this disaster to the community, and these are to be expected. How does the government protect the people from this natural disaster? Well, if an event has not happened yet, I believe the government, of course, sends out or prepares areas or locations that are deemed safe from an event like this, commonly known as safe houses or places that people go to whenever there's an emergency. These are one of the main ways that the government prepares people in case of a natural disaster. Other things that the government does, or other things that the government does to prepare for a natural disaster is they fortify the defenses, like they make the foundation of the roads strong. They make other aspects of the area that is known to be naturally hazardous stronger to prevent or to minimize the damage possible. We cannot really prevent the damage. There will always be some. But during a disaster, the government responds with deploying resources, deploying food and water, deploying all those things. And in this case, the government is still, until now, sending search parties to search for the missing people. So, letter D. What things should you be aware about? What things should you be aware of about areas exposed to this hazard? If you are living in this, or even if you're visiting, you should always be aware of the weather. You should always listen to weather reports and all that. If you're living here or staying there for a bit of time, you should also be prepared. Like, you should always have emergency rations on board. You should always be prepared with emergency water, communication devices like radio, and med kits in case an event might happen. Sana hindi. And you should always be aware of the local news, because that's the most important thing. That's why the radio is important. You should always be you should have basic knowledge on medical care, and you should always be always be prepared. And finally, letter E. As a student, how can you assess the effectiveness of a proactive approach to emergency preparedness? Well, emergency preparedness is, well, I believe not as effective as a proactive approach to being prepared. Because if you're just prepared, effectiveness of proactive approach. Yes, so in a proactive approach of being prepared, you're always prepared every day. You always have the resources in case of an emergency, and you're always aware of like news. And that is very effective because if you know something's gonna happen, then you can always prepare in advance. For an emergency preparedness, though, you're on your feet. I believe you are not as aware, and you're a bit more unstable in the sense that you're making decisions on the fly, and you don't have any prior information to support you on that. And that's why I believe that the proactive approach is a bit more effective compared to the emergency preparedness. I think that is all for this report. I'd like to thank you for listening, and I'm sorry if my voice is a bit weird, annoying, or if I keep stuttering. Thank you and goodbye.